and welcome to Wrestling Forever. I'm Billy Kirkwood of What's Left of Him, and you might see that the show's looking a little different because I have no Ryan Fitzsimons, the host of the #1 Celtic podcast on YouTube, is not with me. Ryan has got a wee bug, and he's just trying to get a wee bit better. So what I'm doing is I'm effectively jumping on quickly with a little mini episode just ahead of us being back in full force next week. So we wish all the best to Ryan. Get better soon. Don't worry, he's not failed a wellness check or a wellness policy thing or anything like that. Don't worry, I've checked. We do a piss check every single week here on the show. How the bloody hell are you? That's the first thing we want to say. And a big hello to some more of our viewers that we've just picked up down in England and over in America, which is awesome. But I want to say, everyone that turns in and goes, I can't make out a word they say. We will attempt to slow down for you, but this is very much how it fucking sounds. My name is Billy Kirkwood, and I'm going to take you through some bits and bobs. We're not going to do some of the regular stuff that you guys would recognize from the show. So what I thought is we'd talk about a couple of top points that have came up in the last couple of days, just very, very quickly, and get to a whole bunch of your questions that we haven't been able to get to this week because the big man is not here. So a couple of quick ones. First of all, The Rock is returning tonight on SmackDown. What's our thoughts on that? The timing of it? Well, a couple of different things. Obviously, we've heard about some of the ratings going down. Watch times going down on Netflix. Oh no, WWE's fucked. It must be all over. Of course they're going to be absolutely fine. But The Rock making an appearance, is it just to pop a rating, as they say, or is it time for him to get into place for WrestleMania? Is he going to lead into something? Fuck me, I hope it's just not him doing that half-arsed comparing, whatever the bloody hell he was doing in the last show. Big shout out to the billionaires! Woo! We don't need any of that. We want some nasty Rock. Or is he trying to get back over his babyface Rock? I just don't think anybody wants it. I just don't think anybody wants it. So The Rock returning tonight on SmackDown is very, very interesting. Is it just a pop-up appearance just to remind him, hey, I've got some money on the board? Who knows? Who knows? Fingers crossed it's leading into something. It could unlock some of the confusing elements that we have been looking at WrestleMania. If The Rock were to go into a program with, let's say, hypothetically, Roman Reigns, could we get that match a year earlier at this year's WrestleMania? Or indeed, is The Rock just planting himself as host on the night where he'll probably come out and, I don't know, just helicopter his dick around going, can you smell what The Rock is cooking? And we'll go, no, absolutely not. The other big story this week, which went a little under the radar, but I was very excited about it. See, the Hardy Boys are going to be returning to WWE. Now, this is via the TNA agreement that's in place, which I love. I absolutely love. It is such a bizarre world to see these companies interacting with each other. Does WWE have money in TNA? It's hard to tell, but the fact that they were at Full Sail University just last week, and it looked great, and I've got to say, it sounded great because I don't know who mics up some of those TNA tapings that they normally have, but fuck me, could you put them on some of the crowd? Sometimes it sounds like fucking silence out there, but it was a great show at TNA this week. We're going to get back to another element that happened in that. Of course, seeing Joe Hendry growing into himself as TNA World Champion is awesome to see. And I'm not just saying that from a patriotic Scottish point of view, but I'm also saying it from a patriotic Scottish point of view. So you can take it whatever way you want. But the Hardy Boys crossing the line, coming back into NXT. I've got to say this. I love this. I think it's the best way to integrate the Hardys. If there is to be another run in WWE, I think this is a great place to do it. They're going to be working with tag teams that will able to this is going to sound like a dig, but it's not meant to be a dig, that will take on large elements of the work, to say, that can bounce about the ring for the Hardys, with the Hardys, look after them, make them look good, something that was very missing from them over in AEW. There's not a knock at AEW, but you weren't getting the Hardy Boys of 2010. You weren't getting the Hardy Boys, certainly, of 2005. You were getting the Hardy Boys of 2023. I mean, it was a very short run for them in AEW, and I think they've been used really great in TNA. See them coming in and having a match. Do I think they're going to go over? Yes, I totally think they do, but I think using them sporadically like this in WWE, whether it is just putting over teams, giving them the rub in NXT, or maybe, look, lots of people have said about a main event roster run, beyond maybe perhaps like a ladder match or a TLC or something like that, or maybe I just feel like a full-term run is very much in the rearview mirror for the Hardys in WWE, certainly with the schedule, even though it is reduced. I don't really know if we want to see that, but this is definitely a step back in there, raising the stocks again of the Hardys. And I, for one, I'm going to be tuning in. Makes NXT an even more must-watch show. Another one that came out of the TNA tapings was that Elijah made his debut in TNA. Now, I thought that Elijah, formerly Elias, just in case, had, rumor has it, he was actually Ezekiel. What the fuck are you talking about, Kirkwood? Rumor has it that was something that was in place, but to see Elijah make, I didn't know they got his name mixed up there. Too many E's, but that was Tearing Apart 1997 for you. Here, to see him back in a mainstream company is great because we kind of wondered where he was going to be. Rumor had it that he had an agreement to go work with ROH. We'd seen some vignettes and what have you done. Maybe there was going to be a route into AEW for you, which I liked. I liked the idea of working with ROH. I think the booking needs to get solidified a little bit in AEW. I'm not tearing into, but I would want a team like that, a combo like that, to be an impact as opposed to just taking up minutes on TV. And I feel like him and TNA, there is the potential of a run there. There's the potential of a run there. And I've always been a fan of the wrestler. I've always been a fan of the character. At one point, insanely over in WWE. Never worked as a babyface, always worked as a heel, always worked as an asshole, really. I think him, and if they'd been able to give him a little bit of the LA Knight vibe, it might have worked. It might have worked, like in terms of not going full blown, but excited to see him back and looking fucking amazing, it has to be said. A question. Let's get to one of your first questions. First of all, it's this is from, I want to make sure I get this right, Jason Proctor, who has said the women's division in WWE, is it stuck? Right, there's been a lot said about the women's division in WWE this week. I'm going to come out and say it, like, I think there's work that needs to be done in elevating the importance of characters on TV. Right now, it feels like we're kind of treading water, like we're almost waiting for Jade Cargill to come back before we can really get things going with that. We're waiting for Becky to come back to get things going with that. Charlotte's come back and thankfully is clearly being put back into a heel role because she's such a heel role. Although in saying that, it's a bit of a weird one because it looks like they're finally locking in Mania with what's happening in the women's division. Charlotte, thankfully not going after Rhea's title, but her working with Tiffany Stratton, who I'm a big fan of, but is she over enough yet as a face? You know what I mean? Like, for me, the act is really, really fun, and there's loads of heel sensibilities, which I really like. I just feel like, I don't know, it's probably the only option to go for is Charlotte versus Tiffany, but I don't know if it's the best one, is what I'm going to say. I think we bringing people in just to give them this short run going into Mania, I don't know. I feel I would like a little more story behind it, but yeah, I think there's a little bit of work that needs to get done. Maybe with Brian James coming into SmackDown, that is going to make a difference. I know lots of people have got negative things to say about Brian James and some positive. Remember, he's had to go through Vince McMahon in the past, but this is him taking on an element of work that would have been probably directly Triple H. Depends who he puts around him as well. If that means that we could see some things happen in the women's division, I would very much like to see that. Yes, but there are faces and there are names and the division on both main shows that I would like to see given the opportunity. Just NXT call-ups is not the way to fix it, right? Even though I don't think it's in free fall. I don't think it's really, really damaged, but I would like to see more story-based stuff, more importance put on characters. It feels like there's some storylines that have gone stagnant because they've been waiting a while. I'm hoping that as we go into Mania season, these are all going to burst. These are all going to burst, and these are going to be terrific. And saying that, Chelsea Green is an undoubted highlight. Just making up words now. I don't make them up. I remix them. Chelsea Green is an undoubted highlight of SmackDown for me. I just watch it each and every week, and I can't wait. Right, I love this question sent in. This has been sent in by Jimmy Ridley, who has said, WWE ID titles, what do you think? Oh, right. This is a tricky one for me because obviously WWE had previously had investment in independent companies around the globe. and working relationships. Business decision, yeah, it's a great idea. One foot in the Indies. But are we going to see like a WWE ID European title? Are we going to see a WWE ID Japanese title? Is it going to be a way of ensuring that they're able to develop these guys before they bring them to the main roster? Is it going to be a way of putting stock in them? Are we going to start seeing characters changing on the independent circuit because these elements of these are going to be what they want bringing buzz into WWE? For example, like are they going to be reaching out to someone who they signed to ID contracting? Oh, we'd like you to do this, I'd like to do that for a couple of years' time when we call you up. And if it doesn't work out, then score a line through the contract. And you have to ask yourself a big question. Would you go and see a show because a WWE ID champion was on it? That's the question you have to ask. How they're going to feature that? Are we going to see them on TV? Are we going to see them online? I think it's too early to tell. The championship's not a bad idea, but I think it's too early to tell as to what we're going to do with these levels to it. Hopefully, we're going to see that ID title making its way over to the UK, unless we get our own independent championship. And will we then see WWE or independent programming from the UK, RevPro, Progress, ICW, any other Future Shock, any of the other companies? Are we going to see them getting featured? That's the question you've got to ask yourself. So I don't know quite yet with WWE ID yet. As soon as I start seeing athletes benefiting from this, let's make it happen, baby. Let's make it happen. And of course, if they want to do announcers and commentators, I'll give you the list of ones you should sign. Right, couple other ways. I knew it was only a matter of time for this one's going to come up. And we have briefly talked about it between me and Ryan. Tessa Blanchard, what's your thoughts of her being back on TNA TV? There is a lot of damage in the wake. There is a lot of information out there and a lot of accusations that have been leveled at Tessa Blanchard before she's made the return and way before she was let go. For me, do the CVV interview. Do the Chris Van Vliet interview. Let him ask the difficult questions. Apologize. And just make steps. People are not going to forget, right? People are not going to forget. And I don't feel like in any way they feel like there's an apology being made. Unless you're going to submit evidence that it's all bullshit, which I don't really know how that is either. For me, the company's given her a chance. I hope that they're convinced. They must be convinced in some way, and they're not telling us about that just now, which I can appreciate as a difficult position because, kayfabe and everything else. Great wrestler, shitty attitude. I don't want to talk too much in the racism thing because, quite frankly, it appalls me that if an outright racist person was being employed by a wrestling company and was not able to look at their life and their judgments and make the apologies and steer themselves into a clear place, and really that'd be a big facet of who they are, then I have a real fucking problem with it. But that's my thoughts on it. Does she deserve that place in the roster over other people? No. Have TNA, Anthem, whoever it is, on this opportunity. They must be convinced. Either that or she's got pictures on a draw somewhere. I've no idea. So it's a tricky one to answer because I know how Billy feels about it. Which is a shame, really, because she's a fantastic wrestler. But like I say, shitty attitude. For the love of wrestling, Billy went down to the For Love of Wrestling event this week. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Do you think we should ever see one of these events in Scotland? Right, for the Love of Wrestling, an amazing... It's a convention, really, isn't it? It's a convention held down south. Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. I see all about. I've never got to the event myself. I have to make that very, very clear. But these things, such as, is it WrestleCon over in, they usually have it on the eve of WrestleMania nearby. It looks brilliant. Great event. I've seen some of the Q&As they did were insane. Some of the talent they get over is amazing. Whole bunch of them hosted by the best in the business, Chris Brooker as well. Really eclectic lineups. Like I saw a really cool thing there was an entrance by the Nation of Domination, the original lineup. Of course, I'm missing Ahmed Johnson. May he rest in peace. Turns out he's not dead. Never mind. So I thought it was brilliant. Do I think they should bring one to Scotland? I don't know how that works. I've been to plenty of conventions, but I think for things like the Love of Wrestling, lots of people travel to it already. So it's kind of like, would we just be split up into two? I don't know. It kind of feels like you could be pissing in your own Vimto there. So maybe leave it there until the point that it maybe needs to split. But even then, you're still going to, then you're going to have people going like, oh no, Farouk, Ron Simmons, Karma, they all made it to the one in England, but then the one in Scotland, we got such and such and such and such. So he's playing it up. I don't know really, but it's a great event. Never been there myself, and think it's amazing. Right, last couple of ones. This is a good one. Let's see. Where do you rate yourself out of 10 as a wrestling commentator? 3.5. Do you think commentators should have entrances? Same person. No, I don't. Not on indie shows, but WWE have kind of set a precedent. And it's always a bit of fun. It's always just a bit of fun, really. But if they weren't a thing, they weren't a thing. I know that's really going to piss off a whole bunch of wrestling commentators and announcers, but there we go. That's my genuine take on it. There we go. But then again, I'm a hypocrite because it tends to be when you come on doing stand-up, there's like a little bit of music or something heralding you on. So I guess that's my entrance. And of course, we've got a wee one at ICW, which is just about G'ing up the fans. So what I'm saying is don't listen to me. I'm only a 3.5 wrestling commentator. And finally, this one would have been a great one if Ryan was here with me, and I'm kind of half tempted to leave it. Wrestling football crossover. I'm surprised we haven't seen more of these. They've often been teased, but we've never seen a lot of this. We've seen like glimmers of it on WWE TV. I mean, I remember there was one time, I think didn't Wayne Rooney smash Wade Barrett? Didn't that happen? I'm pretty confident that happened at one point. We've never done it on telly. Like, I don't know. Who would we get? That'd be the big problem. All the big name football. Who would we get? It would cause problems here in Scotland. It'd probably cause problems everywhere. Who'd be the most popular footballers that you could do it with? But would I like to see a footballer in a wrestling match? Fuck it, why not? Do you know the most popular person to get would be one of the guys from Ted Lasso? That'd probably be it. I can't remember the name. Jamie Tate. Get Jamie Tate on, man. There's only one Jamie Tate. I know that he's an actor, but get him on. Right, that's all we've got for this mini episode of Wrestling Forever. We're going to be back next week with more episodes. Don't forget, if you want to go back and check out the archive, you can do that on Spotify. Of course, you can do it on YouTube. We're trying to build this, so feel free to share it, tag it our pals, or indeed put your questions below where you see this video, or indeed hit up me or Ryan Fitzsimons over on our socials. We would love to hear from you if you've ever got a topic or anything you'd like to talk about. We've got some interesting and fun episodes coming up, which are talking about wrestling. We're not necessarily about wrestling. You're going to find out all about that in a wee second. That's going to be coming up very soon. I'll see you the next time right here on Wrestling Forever!